Are you ready yet? Lila yelled up from the bottom of the stairs. Just a few more minutes, Pinky yelled back, sitting on her stool in front of her vanity table. Pinky was dressed in a black cocktail dress, getting ready to go to their friend Cher's birthday party down at Dave's pub. It was a regular spot for the gals to hang out after a long day and just chat and have a few cosmos. It was a small, homey pub that usually wasn't too busy. Pinky grabbed her red lipstick from her drawer and slowly slid it along her bottom lip and around to the top. She rubbed her lips together and wiped a small smear at the corner of her mouth. Ready, she said as she stood up. As Pinky stood, her hip connected with the corner of the table. The table wiggled slightly, but just enough to make the mirror slide up. Pinky had already turned around when she heard a huge crashing noise. What the hell are you doing up there? Lila yelled as footsteps ran up the stairs. When she walked in the room, Pinky sat on the edge of the bed, pulling a small shard of glass from her foot. Oh no, are you okay? Lila tiptoed over to Pinky, trying not to step on any glass, and sat beside her. I'm fine. It's just a small piece of glass. My grandmother's mirror isn't, though, Pinky said with disappointment. I've had that mirror since she passed. It's the only thing I really have of hers. I remember as a child sitting in her room, playing with her makeup and looking in that mirror, watching her do her own makeup. I'm so sorry, Pinky. That frame seems still fully intact. Maybe we can replace the mirror. Lila picked up the gold frame, glass pieces falling to the floor. It is a beautiful piece. The markings on it. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, it really is one of a kind. Alright, maybe we could do that. Just lean it against the wall. I'll get a band-aid and clean this up. Can you just message Cher and tell her we're going to be a few minutes late? Pinky stood up and walked to the kitchen to grab the broom. Pinky grabbed the broom and swept the glass into the corner of the room. Lila and Pinky left for the pub, leaving the glass for later. They were already late and were sure everyone else would already be there. Once they left the house, they walked down the dark streets of Simcoe. At night, especially on a Sunday, the streets were very quiet. They had seen about 3 others walking on their way down the street and around the corner. It took them about 5 minutes to walk to Dave's pub. When they walked in, WB, Catline, Cher, and Saturn were all sitting at their regular booth. Cher had a little pink crown and sash on. We are so sorry. My mirror broke as we were ready to leave. I got a little piece stuck in my foot. I just had to quickly clean it up. Happy birthday, Cher. Pinky walked up to her and gave her a big squeeze. Well, let the 7 years of bad luck begin, WB smirked as he placed his arm around Catline, trying to reach all the way around. WB, stop trying to grab my boob. All day today. It'll be there later. They aren't going anywhere. Wait until we get home, Catline said as she rolled her eyes, smiling. Can't blame a guy for trying, WB laughed and placed his hand on Catline's shoulder. Ooh, woo, Saturn said in his low, monotone voice. Where's Sarah? Lila asked. I want to give that big booty a smack. She's in the washroom. She'll be out in a minute. You guys are all horn dogs. Keep it in your pants, would you? Catline said. Cher laughed as she sipped at her Cosmopolitan. Thank you guys for coming. It's been a week. I'm so glad I just get to relax with you all and have some fun. Of course, Cher. We love you, always. Pinky placed her hand on Cher's back. Oh, Pinky, you should go clean up your foot. It looks like it's still bleeding. Cher looked concerned at the amount of blood pooling in Pinky's white flip-flops. What the heck? It was only a small piece. I didn't even hurt or bleed that much at home. Ugh, I'll be back. Pinky got up and walked slowly to the bathroom, trying not to squish the blood out of her flip-flop as she walked. Pinky walked to the bathroom and seen Sarah washing her hands. Hey, Pinky. Oh, what happened to your foot? Sarah looked down as she dried her hands and placed the paper towel in the garbage. I just broke my mirror before we left. It's not a big deal. Do you need any help? Can I get you something for you? No, it's okay. I'll be out in a few minutes. Pinky pulled off her flip-flop and grabbed some paper towels. Okay, I'll see you out there, Pinky. Sarah smiled and left the bathroom. Pinky lifted up her foot over the sink and turned the water on. The small mark on her foot had grown. It was now puffed out and the size of a toonie. Blood kept coming out from the wound. Guys, any American friends in here, a toonie is $2. It's like that big. What the hell? Is it infected? Pinky reached over to the wall, trying to balance with her foot in the sink to grab more paper towel from the dispenser. Pinky grabbed a few more pieces and turned back to the mirror. Pinky froze. She stood completely still, paper towel in hand. Pinky was staring at the mirror. Her reflection. It wasn't right. She was staring at herself in the mirror, but Pinky had her foot in the sink and the paper towels. But her reflection stood completely upright and still, smiling back at her. Pinky moved her arms up and down, but her reflection continued to stay still. What the fuck? Pinky then looked down to her foot, the water still streaming on the wound. The blood continued to flow with black sludge. Pinky pulled her foot out of the sink and backed up to the wall, breathing heavily. She wanted to scream, but shock took over. Her legs began shaking uncontrollably. She looked back at her reflection that now showed herself moving her hand up like she was reaching out. Pinky's leg began to ache as her veins filled with the black sludge. It felt like fire coursing through her blood. In a blink of an eye, it was all gone. She was back at the sink, still breathing heavily. She lifted her foot quickly, and there was nothing. She looked back in the mirror, touching with her hands. The reflection moved with her. What the hell was that? It felt so real. Pinky placed her hand on her chest and sighed with relief and let out a nervous giggle. Pinky looked back up to the mirror, but her reflection was smirking back at her and waving. The reflection began walking towards the door slowly. The lights and room started disappearing the closer the reflection got to the door. What is going on? Pinky began banging on the mirror, becoming frantic. When she turned around and ran to the door trying to frantically open it, she turned back to the mirror to see herself blow a kiss and leave the room. Pinky was left in complete darkness, pitch black as she screamed. Pinky sat down, unable to see her own hand in front of her, curled up, and cried. I don't understand what is happening. Why is this happening to me? Is it a bad dream? Wake up! Wake up! Pinky screamed as she pinched herself. Pinky sat crying for what felt like hours until she had seen a small light in the distance. She slowly got up and began crawling towards the light. Hello? Can anyone hear me? She pulled herself up to her feet and began sprinting towards the light. The closer she got, she could see parts of a room. It was Sarah's room. Pinky could see the bed, closet, and dresser. The light source was coming from a body mirror. Pinky ran up and fell to her knees. She placed her hands on the mirror and looked into the other side. Sarah! She screamed in horror at the sight. She watched herself holding Sarah by the throat against the wall and her reflection continuously stabbing her in the abdomen. Tears fell from Sarah's eyes as she held Pinky's hands that were wrapped around her throat, blood pouring from her mouth. Pinky's reflection turned and smiled as she lifted the knife, licking blood from the blade, then giving one last stab hard into Sarah's sternum and releasing her neck, her body falling to the ground. Pinky's reflection wiped the blood off the blade and rubbed it all over her face and neck. Lily, come here! Her reflection continued to smile back at Pinky. Leave her alone, for the love of God, please stop! Pinky sobbed uncontrollably as she looked down at Sarah's bloody body. Just then, Lily walked into the room. Pinky began banging on the mirror. Get out! Run, Lily, run! Oh my god, Pinky, what the fuck did you do to Sarah? Lily ran to Sarah's body, lifting her head onto her lap, putting her hand over the open cuts on her stomach. Sarah, wake up! Oh my god! Lily looked up at Pinky. Grab something! Call 911! What the fuck? A quick slash of the blade and Lily was choking and gagging while grabbing at her throat. Blood shot all over the walls and Sarah's body. Lily's body fell forward, leaning over Sarah's, blood pouring from her neck. Pinky sat again, waiting. Oh wait, nope. I missed a spot. Hold on. Lily, no, stop it! You sick fuck, let me out of here now! Pinky continued to bang on the mirror until her reflection walked out of the room, leaving her in complete darkness again. Pinky sat, again, waiting. I missed a little titsmit there. Another light appears, and Pinky runs as fast as she can. This time, it was the mirror in Catline and WB's room. WB had a wall of mirrors in his room, so Pinky could see practically the entire room. She looked in the mirror and could see WB and Catline under the sheets, moving around. They were giggling and moaning. Pinky looked around frantically at where the reflection could be. She then spotted her staring in the creak of the door, just standing and smiling. Her reflection looked right at Pinky and put her finger to her mouth, motioning for her to be quiet as she lifted up an axe close to her face. Why are you doing this? Stop! Pinky looked around the room behind her. She had seen a chair, lamp, and other small things. She began picking them up and throwing them at the mirror and screaming. The objects all bounced off, leaving not a scratch. Pinky charged the mirror and slammed into it. She tried everything she could to make noise and alert them, but her reflection was moving in and stood directly over the bed with her axe held high over her head. The axe came down with great force right on top of WB's head. The reflection pulled the sheets off of Catline screaming, trying to push WB's body off her. Catline was stuck. The axe pulled out from the back of WB's head and came swinging down hard again on top of Catline's face, and the screaming stopped. Before Pinky could see anything else, she was left in complete darkness once again. Pinky paced in the darkness, thinking about what she could do. She worried about who she was going to go for next, and if there was any way she could stop it. If she's going for everyone that was there tonight, would she be going to Cher's or Saturn's? Where are their mirrors in their houses? What's in the rooms? How can I get the fuck out of here? Just then, another light. Another light. When she had seen the room, she knew exactly where the reflection had gone. It was Saturn's living room. The space was smaller, as the mirror was in the front hallway. The mirror right beside the front door. It was no larger than Pinky's torso, but she could see Saturn laying down on the couch. He had fallen asleep with a cigarette in his mouth and the TV on in the background. Pinky looked frantically around the small space she could see. The phone! There was a corded phone that sat on a small hall Damn it. That sat on a small hall table with a bowl filled with candy. She ran for the phone as her reflection self stood facing Saturn with a gas tank. Sorry, I jumble my words sometimes when I read out loud. She quickly dialed Saturn's phone number and heard it ringing. Wake up, Saturn, now! Wake up! Pinky heard an echo from the other side of the phone ringing. Oh my god, it's working. Saturn, wake up! Saturn started moving around the couch. His eyes opened slightly. Saturn, feeling groggy, rolled over. Who the hell is calling me this late? As he was about to pull the cigarette from his mouth, Pinky's reflection began pouring gas all over Saturn. The flames immediately ignited and a huge ball of flames flew up. Pinky ripped the phone from the wall and threw it across the room as she screamed. Saturn running around, screaming, catching the curtains, carpet, and other items on fire as he ran. Soon, the whole living room was covered in flames. Pinky's reflection walking by the mirror, smirking, not saying a word. Flames, then darkness. The next place is Cher's. I know it. Where the fuck does she have a mirror? The phone worked. I could call again depending where she shows up. Whatever shows in the mirror she's in shows up wherever the hell I am. I know Cher has a mirror in her bathroom, bedroom, and the living room on the side wall. But all of them have a view of the halls and out of the room. I wonder if there's a way I could get out of here through that. Pinky thought to herself as she looked around the darkness, turning around every once in a while to make sure she caught the light as soon as it popped up. So go stand alive. Stop, drop, and roll. Come on, you evil bitch, where are you? Just then, a small dim blue light came shining through in the distance, and parts of Cher's bedroom began emerging. Her fairy lights. It's in her room. I know she has a phone on her nightstand. Pinky ran straight for the nightstand and picked up the phone. She dialed Cher's number and heard a click. Hello? Cher, you need to get out of the house now. What? Pinky? What are you talking about? You need to run. I can't explain it. Just please run. And do not go near me. Pinky, this isn't funny. I know you're downstairs. We literally were just talking a minute ago. Hang up and come up and talk to me, silly. Cher, that's not me! Pinky looked over to the mirror. So go stay in the lab. Stay in the lab. Not a funny joke, Pinky, Cher said, laughing, phone still in hand. Pinky began screaming in the phone. Cher looked down at the phone in her hand, hearing Pinky screaming while staring at her as she stood right in front of her. Wait. How? Pinky, what the hell's going on? Bang. No, Cher! Pinky fell to her knees as she dropped the phone. Pinky's reflection stood in front of Cher's bedroom door, gun held up in front of her with both hands. Cher fell to the floor, her eyes still open, staring as the blood began seeping from the middle of her forehead. Pinky's reflection dropped the gun and walked over to the mirror. Pinky walked up to the mirror. Why? Why did you kill them all? What did I do? Her reflection pulled out a large shard of glass from her pocket. It was a piece of her grandmother's mirror. The reflection held out her hand and placed the glass firmly against her skin. Wait, what are you doing? The reflection pulled the piece of glass down slowly, cutting open the palm of her hand. Pinky began screaming as she held out her own hand and watched the cut open up on her palm. Stop it! She yelled. Blood began pouring out. Then the black sludge. Pinky closed her eyes and kept screaming until she heard sirens. She looked around the room to see the gun laying on the floor and Cher. Oh my God. She ran to Cher and held her. I'm so sorry, Cher. I'm so sorry. She hugged her tight and rocked back and forth with her until she heard banging on the door. The door broke open and several footsteps came barging up. Get on the floor, now! Step away from the body! Pinky turned around to see several officers, gun drawn. Listen, I didn't do this. Please let me explain. Get down and put your hands behind your back, now! Pinky continued to cry as her shaking hands went above her head. She lay down on her stomach and felt the officers rush over her and grab her forcefully and handcuff her. They stood her up to take her out of the room. As she was being pulled out, she looked back at her reflection, smirking back at her. 2 months later. I just got here now. I'm going through the stuff and I'll put some things in storage until we can figure out what to do with everything. Bree ended her call with her father. She walked through her sister's house that had been vacant since the night she was arrested. She walked up to Pinky's room and looked around at all the pictures on the wall and to the vanity desk where Pinky had done her makeup on the last night she was home. Why the hell did you do it, Pinky? Hey, did you need me to carry anything to the truck right now? I'm gonna go pick up some coffee and something to eat while we rummage through things, Sinful said, waiting at the door of Pinky's bedroom. Actually, yeah. Can you put this mirror in my car? Bree stood looking at her reflection in the mirror. It was my grandmother's. I'd hate to see it get broken or packed away for years in storage. I'll take it home. Sounds good. It's a beautiful mirror, Sinful said as he picked it up and carefully maneuvered out the room and down the stairs. The end.